Welcome back to the Collective Shift channel. Today, we'll be discussing a recent post by Senior Research Analyst Nick on why Merit Circle deserves more attention. This post was published for Collective Shift members recently and is an example of the type of content we produce here at Collective Shift for our members to help them save time and make informed decisions. Nick, I'll take it over to you to tell us a bit more about why you were inspired to write
thanks,
this
Matt. This was inspired by one of the previous posts I did, which looked at sort of overvalued cryptocurrencies or cryptocurrencies that too many eyes on at the moment relative to maybe their usage and I guess ability to generate any revenue at all. So this one I sort of flipped the switch and looked at cryptocurrencies that were potentially overlooked. And Merit Circle is one of those cryptocurrencies out in the market that gained a lot of attention, launched in 2021 at maybe the height of the bull market, and has been sold off really heavily. So it's one I thought was really interesting to have a look back on and see how they're going. And it really caught my eye just because of their differentiated ecosystem. So they split themselves up into 4 different core areas of focus. One is investments, which aims to sort of maximize the treasury value. Then we have another, which is the studios aspect, where they incubate and work with and bring to market their own games or partners. Then they're looking at gaming, which was at their roots, trying to connect NFTs and gamers. And then their marketplace, which they want to sell NFTs and bring them into to generate fees. So in terms of other guilds and gaming DAOs out there, Merit Circle really stood out because of its really differentiated ability to target a lot of different areas, and its treasury has held up significantly well compared to other sort of gaming DAOs. Yield Guild Games is one of the prime examples, who lost, I think, 60 or 70% of their treasury value from the 2022 collapse.
Yeah, sure. I know that revenue generation and even just treasury management being a big problem for many projects, gaming and non-gaming out there. And, as we've been covering in recent videos, so far in 2023 on the gaming space, it is certainly, a very exciting area where, yes, it's got a bunch of venture capital. That's one signal. Doesn't mean it will definitely, take off and come to fruition and be an explosive area in crypto, but it's got all the telltale signs of sort of, taking off and going to the next level as a sector. Nick, could you maybe just walk through an example? I know like this week there's been a really big gaming developer conference going on and some like encouraging announcements in the gaming sort of Web3 space. Could you maybe just walk through an example of, let's just say, a rush of usage of these Web3 games, comes in over, the coming years. Could you maybe just walk through maybe just the flow of like how that in an example would sort of, how Merit Circle would play into that, and then where its sort of purpose,
thanks. So that, for those that weren't aware, there were just 2 major gaming news that broke. Just essentially Web2 gaming studios who are very reputable have jumped into the space. And then we've had more core infrastructure being built out to house these games. And so Merit Circle stands to benefit from a variety of ways, from its own marketplace and NFTs becoming more valuable. If these free to own, whatever the mechanism they're using to facilitate the game and the game economy, these NFTs may be worth something. So the marketplace was able to generate fees, and so larger adoption of these NFTs would just mean higher generation in terms of revenues from the fee model. Then they have their venture arm, which looks at direct investments into games themselves. So if we're seeing more gamers start to try out blockchain-based games, then maybe the equity could be worth something significant if these games turn out to be, really massive and adopt a lot of users. So it sort of ranges from the marketplace to its own gaming hub, which could draw attention, and then through, token investments in that sort of space, because the MC token, which is the native token, can be staked to sort of earn profits from the DAO over time.
Yeah, no, thanks for that walkthrough. And yeah, I think it's nice not to see sort of a one-trick pony. Yes, it's all gaming related, but it was a good example of all the different arms and verticals that Merit Circle, the DAO, has sort of built out over these, this past year. And I think it looks primed to be, there for when this, this sort of possible, influx of gaming activity sort of, comes to the fore. But I suppose, in talking about, reasons for why, you think investors or even just market participants should even just, look up, Merit Circle and learn some more about it. What are some like one other area that's sort of like a reason why you've continued to sort of, continue to monitor Merit Circle in recent months?
Yeah, good question. It's mainly because of their transparency. So I guess when you're looking at crypto tokens, a lot of the heat has been on the ability to not calculate any fair value. As when you're getting to a lot of these other cryptocurrencies. Merit Circle, on the other hand, they have quite transparent metrics on their dashboards, from the treasury value, from their token buybacks, to realized profit, to even things like when they bought and sold their equity in investments in NFTs. So you can look and see where they bought or purchased these NFTs, and you can see the purchase value to the market value from things like their NFTs to the equity to liquid tokens. So if you combine all this together, you actually have something that can be quite analyzed and dive deeper into sort of working out what is a fair value, or which lacks a lot of other cryptocurrencies just lack this, So it's really refreshing to sort of diving into this. And, for those who want to go deeper, you can definitely use this information and try and work out whether indeed like Merit Circle has anything to it or whether not, because we know the gaming sector is going to be very big. I think this is both of our hypothesis, as well as many others out there. So Merit Circle, to me, has, made a stake to why they may capture some of this value. But we have to wait and see. And I think it's a really good sign to see some more of these transparent metrics come out, and everybody can just have a look at them themselves and make their own fair opinion.
Yeah, it's a welcome sort of standard there. They're a setting there for the industry. There aren't many projects, to be sure, that are that transparent with their reporting. So yeah, it's a very good reason why I think it just deserves. It makes it more easier for you to even see what the state of the project is. As with any project, Nick, with cryptocurrencies, it's not all one-way traffic. Let's talk a bit about some things why some possible scenarios or reasons why you might be a bit concerned for the future prospects of Merit Circle, continuing on and being here in like a decade's time. For
example. So the main one you can pin it down to is, I guess, risk of their investments at the top of the market, possibly, whether they made too much in 2021, whether they continued to go too hard at the start of last year, and maybe possibly putting too much energy and focus into these kind of quote unquote Gen 1 crypto NFTs that potentially were some of the core games that got everybody excited and showed the use case, but perhaps won't be the ones that are there to reap the benefits. So if there were too much focus in these areas and in the really early stuff where a lot of the games may not even be built yet, that's one thing to keep in mind, whether they went too hard too early. Then other things like Masari's notably very bearish on gaming guilds and gaming DAOs. They're favoring more social media apps to get more of the attention and capture more of the value. And they just cited 3 core reasons, such as the difficulty of making games fun to play is really difficult, and just the sheer cost it takes to bring a game to market is extraordinary. So this is kind of core barriers that may stop Merit Circle from capturing the value, or being there if gaming does take off. And we have to remember that a lot of the fees have dried up in the last year.
Yeah, no, very sound points, and it has been something we talked about in our recent gaming videos, which are on our YouTube channel, and for those listening on the podcast as well. A big negative would be the runway and the unknown, I suppose, of how these Web3 games will go. Namely, will they even be fun, let alone the potential to earn, which in both our opinions is a strong opinion of ours, which is really just secondary. It needs to be fun primarily. But yeah, I suppose just moving forward, just for the rest of the year, Nick, in closing, what would you sort of like to see from Merit Circle, where we finish the year and you're sort of still in the same opinion that, hey, I'm happy to keep sort of paying attention to Merit Circle?
They just keep delivering on, I guess, the games that they've been developing in the studio. So that's going to be a key one to see if these incubated games that they've been putting a lot of time and money into whether any of them gain any traction at all. That's going to be a big decider. I think if they have a lot of these fail, then it might be a bit worrying signs. But if they hit a few ones at the park and start to see some real traction, then that's going to be something I think that's a real positive, as well as looking at things just like active users and realize, I guess, profits on any of their gaming investments. So a lot to look forward to. And just to finish too, an important thing to think about too is that this isn't intended to be an endorsement of Merit Circle as something to buy now, because there's a lot of factors here, and you can sort of go for yourself and look at what their NFTs they bought, the investments, and sort of make your own decision on whether that is something that you want to be a part of or not. Because as you said, there are risks that we've talked about. And after all, there is a lot of concerns in the market for things outside of Bitcoin due to regulations and a lot of heat coming onto these cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, no, excellent point, Nick. It is definitely still in a deep bear market, but these are the times to be sort of, keeping up to date with some maybe ignored or overlooked projects like such as this one. But yeah, to be sure, we're definitely not out of the bear market by any means. So always worth remembering when you're watching any of these videos. But yes, as I did say earlier, this post was recently published on the Collective Shift platform and is an example of the type of content we produce to help our valued members save time and make informed decisions. To read the full report, head over to collectiveshift.io and sign up to our membership offering. We also currently have a promotion going on where we have a free strategy call, which you can book yourself up to for about 15 minutes at collectiveshift.io/strategy. Just follow the prompts and get started.